Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Jeep 411. Today we're going to be talking about recovery gear and winching. Okay, on this edition of Jeep 411, we're going to go through some basic safety issues and how to use the basics on how to use a winch. We've got a Warn Xeon 10S, which has the synthetic winch line. I've been using this winch for probably close to 5 years now with zero issues. It's a great winch. One of the features that most winches have is a clutch release. This is the clutch engaged, and to release it so you can pull the winch line out, it points to the outside of the vehicle. So to pull it out, and Bill, I'm going to have you give me a hand here because that's probably fairly tight. That's to help protect on the ground, so anytime the winch line is on the ground, you can slide that into place. The end link is a factor 55 closed loop winching end link, really high quality, really super strong. I'm going to show you a couple things about this while Bill's got that pulled out. Bill, you had the shackles. Let me hold on to this and you grab those shackles. Not all end links have this oblong hole. And the reason that's important is if you're using a metal shackle, you can actually put the fat end through here like that. Then you can have the pin out here, and that's much better than having the pin go through the middle like that. Go
through this way.
So if it's just a round hole, you can't use that.
It gives you the option.
It gives you the option of doing this either way. So that's really important. And want to thread a soft shackle through there. These are really great to use with soft shackles. They have a little bit more space in here, so it's easier to get the shackle through the opening. So Bill's going to stick that through. Super simple. And that takes about the same amount of time to do as it would to use a hard shackle, but now you've got a really much safer and much lighter system. Some winches will come with a hook, which is fine. They're just not as safe as the closed. This is why this is a closed system. It's a lot safer. The hook would be on the thimble right here. Doesn't matter which one, but you can still use a soft shackle or a metal shackle on a hook. Doesn't matter. Or you can use a hook like on a tree saver. You can just hook the hook into the tree saver.
This is always going to be stronger than a hook because a hook is an open end.
Yes.
It just has the little latch so that you can snap a rope in.
Yep, and
it keeps it from falling out, but it's open.
It's a spring-loaded sheet metal latch, so it's got maybe 1/100th of the strength of the rest of the hook, where you're never going to break this thing. Well, not anything we're going to do.
If you break this, you have other problems.
Way bigger ones. So that's how that works. Also, we have shackle mounts on here.
You may want to attach your winch line to this, but in order to do that, you've got to feed the thimble around this. So now it's time to get this undone, and you can't get it undone. And nobody seems to be able to find a wrench. So this is where a second shackle would come in. Feed that through, put your winch line through here, screw it in. And again,
that could be a toe strap or...
toe strap, winch line, soft shackle. Well, if we have a soft shackle, then we really don't need that. Okay, you can also use a soft shackle through your typical bumper shackle mounts. Works the same way, you just have to feed it through. It's a little tighter fit than it would be on the end link like here. But you can get it through there. Open this up. The same way Bill demonstrated earlier. That one's not as broken in.
Yeah, that's okay. And then just pull it snug. And this has the advantage of having a sheath on it that cuts down on
the abrasion.
Wear and abrasion when it's on the ground.
Winches are slow, so when you need to get someplace in a hurry with the winch line, you have to disengage the winch clutch. That way, the winch barrel, the drum, will roll freely. And some are easy, some are not. Just depends on the quality of the winch line.
And how it's been rewound.
And how it's been rewound. And sometimes the rope will even catch in the line itself and start to spin backwards.
Which at some point we'll demonstrate. So
Yeah.
Bill, if you'll stop for a second, I'm going to engage the remote. And
Well,
we've
you'll
got
have to
this nice remote control.
re-engage the clutch.
And re-engage the clutch. And this, if that winch line is really tight, or if you're having to hike up a hill, and this helps stabilize you, because I've often said the most dangerous part about jeeping is outside the vehicle when you're scrambling around on rocks and up and down hills. So we're going to let winch line out. Bill's just going to walk, we're going to do it with the winch, and Bill's going to walk it back a few feet just so you can see how it works. Now we're going to pull it back in, and a couple things that are important. Bill, if you'd walk one way or the other, if you get the winch line off to the side, it's going to start building up on the drum on one side, and eventually it's going to get to this bridge on the winch, and that can break the winch if it gets too tall. So you have to watch that. It's very important to keep track of that, and you want to try to get as straight a pull as you can, but even if you have a straight pull, the winch line is still going to build up even in the middle. So you have to just watch for that build up, stop, let line out, spool it back in so it's more even before you continue a winch pull, if you're having to pull a long distance. Most winching operations, you're only pulling a few feet, so it's not a big deal, but just something to be aware of. Another thing, and we'll demonstrate this when we do some winch, some examples of winching, but if you're going down, if you're actually winching it from a lower angle, you're going to be putting a load on the suspension, collapsing the front springs, and that's going to make the pull much more difficult. If you're going uphill, and that means you have to maybe mount the winch, the tree saver, and the end link of the winch up higher on a tree to get a lift, that helps take weight off of the front of the vehicle, and it makes it much easier to do a pull, especially in soft surfaces, deep sand, deep snow, mud, that kind of thing. So another thing to be aware of, and we'll demonstrate that in another video. Let's pull the winch line back in a little bit, and I'll guide it, and we're both wearing gloves. It's important to wear gloves when you're doing any kind of winching operation, especially if you have a steel cable as opposed to a synthetic winch line. The steel cables get little broken strands that stick out, and they can tear your hands open. It's not fun. So we'll pull this back in, and I'm going to kind of guide it back and forth while I'm doing that so we get the winch line on the drum as smooth as possible.
Yeah, something else to point out too is if you can do it with two people and keep the rope out of the dirt, because the abrasion of the dirt will wear the rope out.
Yeah, and if you don't do that, or even if you do, anytime you do a winching operation, the rope is going to get dirty, or if you're in mud or something, the rope is going to get dirty, or the line. You want to unspool the winch line as far out as you can and wash it. Warm water, soapy water is fine, and you can just clean it. You can either put it in a bucket and clean it, let it dry, re-spool it, or you can just use a damp, wet cloth as you're spooling it back in to get the dust and grit and dirt off of it. So we're going to pull this back in. And I'm guiding it so it's staying balanced across the winch drum. Or I'm trying to anyway. So I'm going to pull this winch line in all the way. Now, one of the things we have to do is be careful about getting this protective sheathing fed into the winch so that it starts going around the spool. Otherwise, it's going to stack up and it's going to be just about impossible to get the winch line on there. So I'm going to operate this. And while you're watching this, I want to see if any of you catch something that I absolutely shouldn't be doing. Because right about now, I'd be screaming my head off. because my hand would be caught in there. So you don't want to do that. It's probably excruciatingly painful and could cause you to lose fingers. So we're going to pull this back out a little bit. And here we are stuck. There we go. So Warren makes this handy little strap that Bill has in his hand. And we're going to put this through the end link.
It says here.
Maybe. So that's to hold on to your end link, whether it's a hook or an end link like the Factor 55. And that's going to keep your hand from ever getting caught against the fair lead. And this is the fair lead down here. That's what guides the winch line through. And it's a huge safety thing. You can leave it on or you can take it off when you're done. So let's bring this in. We'll do it nice and slowly. And as this gets close, you can either leave it sticking out straight or you can flip it over and hold it from out here so your fingers can't get caught in it. And there you are.
The idea is to never get your fingers between two hard objects.
With a lot of force.
With a lot of force.
And
yeah, the mechanical thing's going to win every time.
This is 10,000 pounds, this winch. 10,000 pounds of pressure on your fingers.
It would be a shear.
Yeah. The end link or the fair lead are not going to give. Your fingers will give probably a couple 100 pounds of force. So
right.
Be aware, just be careful. Thanks for watching, everyone. We hope you'll subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends, and we'll see you next time.